One stormy night, a young man walked down to the shores of Lake Michigan with a heavy heart. He had experienced failure after failure, and he stared into the waters of Lake Michigan and decided to throw himself in and end it all. But before he could do that, he felt himself enveloped by a bright white light, and a voice spoke to him. And it said,
You do not have the right to eliminate yourself. You do not belong to you. You belong to the universe. Your significance will remain forever obscure to you, but you may assume that you are fulfilling your role if you apply yourself to converting your experiences to the highest advantage of others.
So, needless to say, this young man did not throw himself into the water. You may have heard of him. His name was Buckminster Fuller, and he was one of the most inventive visionaries of the 20th century. And the reason I wanted to share Bucky's story with you today is that Buckminster Fuller is a prime example of an emerging type of human being that I like to call fire souls. Okay, so here are the 5 traits that all fire souls have in common. Let's see how many you relate to. Number 1, a service to others outlook. In other words, a really activated open heart chakra. You know that you have some kind of concept of oneness, that there's a connection between you and others, and you're really here to serve others. Number 2, you're spiritually awakened in some way. Now, this is a little bit of a tricky one because not everybody who's a fire soul necessarily would characterize themselves as being spiritual. Like, for instance, when I was a freelance writer, I had a client who was really doing amazing things in business. He was running a company that sold a pretty cool medical device that used energy. And spirituality wasn't on his radar screen, but he was so service to others, and you could feel like he had that energy of being, to some degree spiritually awakened. There's a lot of people out there who have that awakening starting or going on that they may not be aware of it, right? Either they don't think they're religious, and so they don't think they're spiritual, or they come from a cultural subset that doesn't really recognize spirituality or believe in it. Nevertheless, you can feel the energy of somebody who has that spiritual awakening vibe. Number 3, a fire soul will have a planetary soul mission. Okay, maybe even galactic, but definitely planetary. They feel a strong calling to be of service, not just to others around them, but to humanity or Mother Earth as a whole. Okay, so it's taking that step beyond just the personal to the collective, and being of service for the good of the collective. Number 4, they think differently. Okay, so they're going to be a visionary or outside of the box or holistic thinker. They don't just work within existing systems and paradigms, but they're actively wanting to build new ones that reflect a higher perspective way of thinking. And even if they're not, like, a lot of fire souls are really innovative and they come up with new things, but even if you're not an inventor or an innovator, you will probably be one of these people that are like the first adapters, right? That you recognize a new system, a new technology, a new type of doing things, a new way of doing things that really aligns with your holistic vision of the world, and you're going to be jumping in and really jumping on that right away. And then number 5, a fire soul will feel a strong inner drive towards action and or leadership. And I think this is the main thing that distinguishes a fire soul from many other light workers, starseeds, spiritually awakened people. These are people that really have that fire, that drive to get out there in the world, right? And in a way that it's their dharma, right? It feels like they just are not going to be satisfied at a soul level unless they're out there making waves. And this is really different because and this is another tricky one because our society tends to push people into doing. right? And so if you're feeling that urge, you want to differentiate between this real strong soul calling to be out there taking action versus just having that kind of societal, kind of frenetic push, right? So a fire soul may experience burnout if they've been on that drive kind of level. If they've been pushing in a way that society wants them to push, they may have to take a little time out. But as soon as they find their bearings and figure out their own soul mission, boy, they're going to be right on it again. And typically this is going to be action that is in the world, right? Because some spiritual people, they'll have that inner drive, but it really pulls them more within. That would be the type that might go into an ashram and become a monk, or just have a quiet life. And there's nothing the matter with that, right? We need people who just anchor that energy and develop their heart space. And so this is not saying that if you don't feel that drive, that you're not doing anything in the world. That's not true at all. But specifically, fire souls are here to really work within the world, and so you might find a lot of them may be entrepreneurs, they might be influencers, they might be inventors or politicians or things like that. All right, so there we have it, 5 things that fire souls have in common. And if you resonate with all of these, chances are really high that you yourself are a fire soul. If that's the case, then this channel is for you. I encourage you to subscribe and also to go down in the description box below and join my newsletter, because I'm going to have a lot of stuff for you that you may find really fun and interesting. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Pass this on if there's a fire soul that you know, and see what they think. And remember, you were born to be free.